All right, guys, our big dog draft on Saturday night was such a hit. We decided to run it back. Brian didn't think it was necessary because we already drafted the winning team, but I feel like first and second is still a reasonable goal. Let's hop in a big dog draft.
Does he think? I think he thinks this. He thinks this is a go. Vegas Dave thinks this is a go.
Hot naked girls doing yoga.
What?
Why don't you just win like a man?
Random.org. Type in 1 for yes, 2 for no, and let the DFS gods pick for you.
And I'm absolutely begging you not to dupe us. Please don't dupe us. All right, guys. I have spoiler alert, already jumped the gun on you. I am registered for a big dog. It looks like there are 5 more spots left. So we will let you guys trickle in. Come join us. Brian, how are you doing?
Good. Less players on 4 o'clock Central, huh?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I mean, the BBM threes fill so quickly, regardless of what time of day it is. 3 more spots left in this big dog. I think people are just so hungry for best ball. They'll draft at any time of the day.
Did you see Jack Miller's tweet today?
Yeah, I was going to actually bring that up, and because I was curious with your follow-up question that you had to him as well.
Yeah, he said, while we're waiting for this to start, kind of what I thought was pretty intuitive, that basically the later you draft, the more points your team scores on average. I didn't see how many years of data that was. Was it just last year? What does he say here?
It's just BBM2, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd probably rather do both of them, but and you probably want to stabilize for the points. It might be different each year, but whatever. It's not that hard. You could do it.
Yeah.
And there is a little sprinkling in May there, but other than that, it's basically straight up, and then it shoots up at the end. And I was just wondering if he had like the last week, like the week of September 9th or whatever, and then the week before that. Like, I bet a lot of it is right there.
Yeah, that would be cool to see. Yeah, so just for the audio listeners, this chart is Jack's tweet says BBM2 teams drafted in August and September did better than those drafted earlier in the offseason. This was true both at a median outcome. Highest median months were September, then August, and extreme shown below. Early ADP values are gone, but we have more info now in softer leagues, which, definitely tracks intuitively.
And then Liam's kind of banging the drum that this is not, what's it called? Proper analysis, and that you get a big edge because you're drafting, because you know more than the field, and you're going to get ADP opportunities that you would never get the week of September 9th.
Mm-hmm.
That's his conclusion.
Well, and that's been the whole reason there's the barbell strategy, is taking advantage of both of those aspects and trying to cut out the middle part where you're not getting one of those extreme advantages.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not so convinced it's that big of an edge. Like, I don't know, but maybe. And like, how much is that worth that you get a guy, an extra 10 slots? Like, I don't know what the savings is. And I'm going to go back to here, May 1st.
Yeah.
In the ADP change for, how close were you to filling? I don't want to ruin it.
One more left. You're
okay.
One more spot, guys, if you want to jump in the big dog with us.
And so, okay, the biggest changes since May for this year, Romeo Doubts, is that how you pronounce it, Pete?
I think it's Dobbs, but we call him Dubs. Yep.
Julio Jones, Pachenko,
yeah,
all like 70 or 80 moved up. Brian Robinson, Pickens, Zamir White. Those are some pretty big changes. Some drops. Tim Patrick, Gronk, Ronald Jones. That doesn't sound good. Deshaun Watson, Jamison Crowder. I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna move the needle compared to drafting in the last couple weeks. If you can do it, like, that's another thing. That's a lot of time.
Well, I agree with you, and there's still there's still some shoes that could drop. Last year, the big one that we always reference was when Cam Akers went out and Darrell Henderson jumped from a 15th round pick to a 4th round pick. Like we've had guys that have moved up from the late rounds into the like 10th and 11th, but we haven't had that massive shift of anyone who was like well outside the top 3 rounds or even top 5 moving up into there. And so I think it's almost like a little bit of a gamble, right? Because I think to your point, if we don't ultimately get that, then skewing the majority of your entries toward closer to the season, I think definitely would be the right move. Now, if we had a couple of those huge risers and you're sitting on a couple running backs you got in the late rounds that are now 2nd round picks, now it's like, I want that team that I drafted in May.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how much of that is gambling too, where do you really know you have a predictive edge? Like, are we overvaluating our talent, our watch the tape talents here?
Well, that wasn't even being predictive. That was just getting lucky. Like we drafted a backup running back and the starter got hurt.
You're right. But I'm saying from like the Liam's argument of we're so dialed in here that we're going to be saving 20, 30 rounds on each. And so like Jack could probably do something. This wouldn't be great. You could probably figure out a better way, but you take like the teams that had the best ADP, just assume September 9th is the nuts, right? Like that's what the ADP should be, like the last day. And then the teams with the most amount of gain in ADP and see how they did.
Yeah.
That could tell you something.
Yeah. Well, and to your point too, like a lot of rookies moved up. Like people were drafting Dameon Pierce like really early on and probably 16th, 17th round. Now he's, way up in the 9th, 10th round. On the flip side, I was drafting Treylon Burks and Garrett Wilson, and they've both slid like 15, 20 picks past where I was taking them. So to your point, that dynamic can definitely go in both directions.
Definitely. All right. We got 2 picks here. And then let's make the picks, but then injuries is what we should talk about after that. This is a great draft position for streaming. Can't get sniped really. And
no snipes. That's true. No influencer 101 either. I mean, I've been doing some of these 0 RB builds here with Devontae Adams and CeeDee Lamb. I mean, you can tell Najee and Joe Mixon are guys I'm even underweight relative to our target group. Are you good with a little 0 RB?
This is what I've been doing lately. And I think Adams is pretty good here too. So definitely him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go for it. I mean, are we really going to take Najee Harris? I mean, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, when we did what slot did we have with our big dog draft on Saturday? Was it 10? We took Barkley, but I don't remember if it was like
Barkley
9 or 10.
Like 15 or something. So what would that mean?
I forget who we let me actually go look at that right now just so I could remember our big dog from the other night. We took Saquon. Oh no, we got Saquon in the 15th and we took Lamb at pick 10. So we kind of reached for Lamb and then grabbed Barkley.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so now we got
15.
Our big dog exposures are going to be heavily reliant on CeeDee Lamb's season this year.
So back to the when to draft thing. So this year's honestly, there's not a lot of and some of the flips are kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? So like the only one we really had here is Tim Patrick. He was probably drafted in almost every single draft, right?
Yeah.
So like the negative side is like if you draft your 150 the last week of the season or something, this is all assuming you can get it all in, which is probably tough to do anyways, but 8% of the lineups have one guy who's not going to play the whole year. And then if there's a couple of those injuries, you're looking at I'm sorry, not 8%, 100% of teams will not have that drafted before these injuries.
Right.
100% of the leagues, 8% of the teams won't have that guy. And then you just add another one and that doubles, and then like 3 guys. And it's like, there's guys, that's a pretty big edge. And then like, you could look at it as like, okay, well, I got somebody who is now going at the 30th. Well, is that at the cost of other shares of your portfolio? Like if Tim Patrick was a bigger deal, let's say, and then like KJ Hamler was going to slot in at the 1 or something. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, how much Patrick did you have to gain this Adams that you get, Hamler that you got in the 200th pick or something on average? Like, it's tough to measure all that stuff, but
And it also, you have to factor in like when these dynamics flip, like how much of the tournament is completed and how much of it is left, like if let's say, 2 days before Best Ball Mania 3 fills and there's some big injury that catapults a player up into the first round, it's like, at that point, there's only a couple, percentage points left of this entire contest to fill. I don't know how much that's changing things. Whereas last year we had that Darrell Henderson thing pretty early on. Or wait, when was that? I want to say, remind me in the chat, guys, when into Best Ball Mania 2 was that? Was that about 50% full? I'm trying to remember how many teams had the cheap Darrell Henderson by the time that happened.
I can't remember. Here's another thing, like Gronk, okay? Now, he retired pretty early, so not a lot of people took him, and he's not the Gronk of 10 years ago. But, let's say Waller got hurt today, right? I don't know how serious the injury is, but, if you just take a stud tight end, and then you just don't care about the tight end spot on these teams, and you got him in 20% of your drafts, you're almost forfeiting, pretty close all those teams.
Yeah.
With your stud tight end and no backup or weak backup or something.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think having that info at the end my gut instinct is it would severely outweigh being dialed into what's going on and what the offensive coordinator thinks and shit like that.
Yeah. And Happy Feet referencing another example of a player getting much cheaper, Antonio Gibson, he was going in the 5th round of some of those early drafts. And now he's sliding past pick 100 in some too. I still don't know if that's, a meaningful enough slide to really kind of alter the landscape.
Yeah, I thought that was the last month or something, or a couple weeks before the season started.
Paul said it was right before camp. So that was actually pretty early on.
Oh, okay. All right.
We are seeing, someone mentioned the Kyle Pitts steam. Him, of course, looking incredible in that preseason game on Monday. Joel 3 takes him here in the mid-second round, which I think is completely justifiable there. And a lot of people have Andrews and Pitts pretty close anyway. So definitely a little sticker shock considering his ADP in Best Ball Mania 3s, in the mid-30s or at pick 30 rather. So going a full round ahead there. But I don't blame him. In this room, Kyle Pitts was probably not coming back to him there.
Yeah. Yeah. He had a good highlight game, right? I think I saw something on Twitter. So got to take him in a second. A couple tweets out there.
This is going to be a gross spot. I'm starting to get a little bit worried about Waddle. He was a little banged up right now. I think it's a soft tissue. I think it's the hamstring stuff. But Keenan didn't Keenan slide to us in our draft on Saturday too?
Yes.
Goodness.
So let's not take Keenan then if we have him on the other team we're on.
Yeah. My favorite guys are just
we had Davis too.
We do have Davis.
And the other one, I think. Yeah, let's do Robinson.
All right, hang on. Let's do Robinson.
Okay.
All right.
And then you're worried about Waddle, because I would say if we don't want to do it, we do Waddle.
I know. I'm wondering how much.
I guess we're kind of damn. It doesn't. Yeah, we're kind of screwed here.
I think we probably just. Yeah, I don't want to.
Did we
take Waddle in the last one? We didn't.
I don't think so.
All right, let's just YOLO it with this, and not going to get spooked off of it.
Go back to our other draft just so we can not double up so much. We have CD. We have CD Lamb. That's a little. That's fine. We don't want tons of overlap, I think, though.
Yeah, we had CD, Keenan, and Gabe, so we didn't want to do the exact same.
Right. Exactly.
Keenan, Gabe start there. So yeah, I'm happy to mix it up. There's nothing wrong to doubling up if you have massive conviction in those
Right.
players. I don't have massive conviction in those guys. I think they're all in a very similar tier. So in that case, I have no problem diversifying our bullets.
Yeah. I mean, if we have Allen, CD, Gabe Davis on both teams, it's like we need Allen, CD, Davis to dominate. And if one, we'd much rather set up a situation where if one does well, the other one does bad. And if one does bad, that one does bad, the other one does well. And just, you have two bullets at it with the same EV. Unless Pete said, unless you have some sort of inside knowledge, conviction, expertise, something like that, where you can take the exact same fucking team, the same entry. I just never would do that.
Yeah, and it's funny, man. Some of these guys, I was going to be very excited to take Judy there. He goes one pick. He's pushing up boards there. Marcos says 0 RB strat again. We did an anchor build. We took Barkley on Saturday, so we have basically Adams instead of Barkley in this build.
Like in DFS, would you ever take the same team and enter it twice?
Only if I, had an orgy the night before and forgot to update my dummy train. Yeah.
So what is the deal with Waller? Does anyone know?
He just hasn't been. I think he's practiced once this entire off season or since camp. It's been pretty sketchy. Although I was reading some stuff too that it might be having to do more with him holding out maybe a little bit, wanting a new contract versus him actually being injured. So I'm not quite sure what to believe there.
I saw he might not play week 1 now.
Yeah, that's what people are saying.
Well,
I'm still a little suspicious with how kind of bizarre the reporting has been around his injury. Let's see here. Yeah, Kubert saying week 1 in doubt. We got Rube from the 1. Pretty nice build there. CMC, Higgins, ETN, Kittle, Godwin, and definitely like that team.
How many guys are in this draft in chat? I know I saw one person.
Paul is I was inverted here. He started Saquon, AJB, DJ Moore, and Keenan. Yeah. But
so we got Barkley at the 15. He got Barkley at the 9 in the same draft. We have a huge edge on Paul right now. Huge edge.
Yeah, I mean, Paul got it in so bad there. It is fun when you ratchet up the stakes. People do go get your guys, right? And I don't blame him too. AJ Brown, Barkley, both going a few picks ahead of ADP. But if you're only doing a couple of big dogs and you want to get your exposures to certain guys, you only get so many cracks at it.
Well, I always kind of thought your Samuel exposure was a little high just based on my gut reaction from DFS last year, because he ran a lot, and is that going to happen again? I don't know. What's your thesis behind so much?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was just a talent play. I think he's incredibly good, and I want as much exposure to that 49ers offense as possible. I am definitely getting I'm very excited about J.K. Dobbins at this price.
Let's do it.
He was back at practice.
I don't think we can do Thomas, can we?
I don't think we should.
No.
I wouldn't mind.
Dave Montgomery staring you in the face.
God. We could kind of work through a backdoor Arizona stack and take Kyler and get our elite QB, because that's the one thing I don't necessarily like when I do a 0 RB build. I don't want to also be weak at tight end and quarterback. It would be nice to get anchored at another position with an elite guy.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Let's grab
and we didn't have elite QB really with Dak in our last one.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll probably get shut out of Hopkins. I doubt Hopkins makes it back to us, but Rondale Moore could be a target. We could go Zach Ertz, and then there's some of the cheap running backs that we can tack on to a backdoor Kyler stack.
Yep. Works for me.
But yeah, back to your thing. I mean, it's funny you say that because I definitely think I'm a touch higher on Debo than I would like to be now, just with how much Ayuk is, dominating camp. And I think their ADP should be closer. Yeah, I probably wish I wasn't quite as enthusiastic on him there, but what am I down to now? I think I'm at like 16% on him. 17%.
Okay.
So
all right.
I'm probably not going to be taking him a lot in my last, 30 BBM draft. So my guess is he'll get down into that 14 to 15%. And I'll be fine if I'm, double the field on Debo.
J.K. Dobbins, ADP 2 months ago was 55.56. Right now it's 55.6.
That's crazy. Especially because during that time, it was like baked into his ADP was the fact that he might not be ready for the start of season. But now we got all the positive reports. He's back at practice, looks fine. And it's now the drafters haven't necessarily pushed him back up.
And Dobbins was I'm not Dobbins. Edwards is like out 3-4 weeks guaranteed now too, right?
Yeah. I think I saw that as well.
Yeah.
We Zoom asking, what's the percentage next to the player's name mean? So the one on the right in red is my exposures in Best Ball Mania 3. So I've done about 120 drafts. So this shows that. The green is the week 16 matchup. And then the blue is this target exposure, which is a basket of exposures of a bunch of our friends who are high stakes and best ball grinders. And so it kind of is this good sanity check to kind of compare and contrast. And if you're interested, Zoom, we have the link down below. It's the Bric Draft Caddy. It's a Chrome extension that you can have overlaid onto all your underdog drafts. It's also going to be available with pick'ems. And also, as we teased the other night, some fun DFS overlays coming for you hand builders out there.
Yep. We just got like a little beta DraftKings working on there too. So, no ownership on or exposures on DraftKings though. They don't have the cool little exposure stuff that Underdog has.
Yeah, I know. Release the APIs.
Yeah, at least a CSV. I mean.
Ben asking an interesting question. Do you all have an estimated EV in this for yourselves? Bric, do you have a positive ROI in MME contests?
In best ball, probably not.
I mean, no one says MME for best ball. I assume he's talking DFS for the second part. I think the first part he was saying best ball, but
yes, I have a positive ROI still. Let's knock on wood.
So the draft did circle back and start drafting a bunch of these wide receivers here, leaving us some. Oh God, don't make us take David Montgomery.
He's coming.
Even after Jay Slice said keep Montgomery at 0%, dude is trash.
Oh man, he's gonna be 20. He'd be 22 picks of value.
I put him in the queue to make K-Bake take him.
He probably would. Take him. Take him.
I'm begging you. I'm absolutely begging you. Oh God.
Don't be a slave to ADP. Huh?
Yes, K-Bake.
You took him.
I'm so big. Thank you.
I wonder if he's I wonder if he's not watching and he clicked on your team. He's like, "Oh, this guy's got no RBs. I gotta get Montgomery in before he goes."
I kind of like the idea of building out a little bit of our Dolphin stuff with Edmonds and Waddle. Would also make Tua a pretty nice target for us, with Edmonds going to catch a decent amount of passes.
All right.
And then, man, this Schultz stuff. Like if we had. I guess we could take Schultz and also leave in play a Dak slide for the Dak double stack with Schultz and Lamb. Or we could take Pollard with the same logic.
Yeah, I would kick. Yeah, I wouldn't take Schultz.
Yeah, I don't really want to take Schultz either.
Yeah, take someone fun.
Let's do I think Pollard's fun. And it also gives us now we kind of have that same dynamic with Chase Waddle, Pollard, Lamb, gives us two nice options at that second quarterback with Kyler.
All right.
Seriously, getting sniped has never felt so good.
Keeps you at 0%.
MJ says he wants to see the content of Montgomery somehow being a league winner and Pete having 0%. I mean, that's already played out. I mean, last year it was 0% Leonard Fournette, and then he was the league winner. So there's definitely precedent for this.
Let's see how much Montgomery has changed.
Yeah, I completely disagree with H. Doty. He says Pollard Dak was the play, but you live and learn. So my thing with the quarterbacks too, when you're drafting two quarterbacks early, is I want to make sure that I'm getting that second one at a value. Like I just have no desire to reach for him. Also, with Schultz still on the board, there are no other drafters right now who are going to find Dak as a super attractive target, if you're drafting him naked, because CeeDee Lamb and Pollard are the only other Cowboys who have gone. So a lot of times you'll get a dynamic where that quarterback will slide and you squeeze in an extra pick. So I actually think it's pretty bad in those specific situations to go ahead and jump the gun on it.
We don't want two Daks either. We had a Dak in our last entry in this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I don't necessarily want the two Daks, but if he slides to us at 108, I'll happily take that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Montgomery, 2 months ago, his ADP was 51.5, and it's now 63.9, 12.4 drop.
It's not even – I feel like it could have been bigger considering he was like plague on special teams and stuff. And you saw – I mean, the reaction to the stuff going on with Antonio Gibson, I mean, he's sinking like a rock. But there seems to always be some David Montgomery stans who are not worried.
Yeah, I mean, he was a starter. The Bears suck, but
I know. I promise you, Bric, no joke, I would have been willing to take him there at 84.
Would you?
Yeah, I had mentally prepared myself to do it.
Long breaks in between picks at the 12 spot, huh?
Yeah. Sammy, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. He says, I finally joined. I love you, motherfuckers. Thank you for your support. We love you, Sammy, and the War Pigs.
War Pigs.
The War Pigs. I mean, hang on. Look up this one, Brian. Look up. Tell me the ADP change on George Pickens, who just went 96.
Okay. 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months ago, he was 162.
Whew.
Now he's at 109.2. 53.
Well, in 96 in this room. Nuts.
Wow. That's even higher. So that's like 60 point or 60 ADP jump.
Yeah. And again, that ADP jump isn't, from a strategic standpoint, isn't really relevant because the big dog wasn't open 2 months ago. It's been open for what? A little over a week, 10 days. So most of the George Pickens selections are probably up in this higher range, but it is still interesting to see that he might end up being the biggest mover so far right now. If he does end where Rube took him at 96, can you guys think of anyone else who's moved up higher than that? I can't.
I can tell you. Romeo Dubs moved up 85.
85
Pacheco
spots.
too. Julio Jones, after he got signed, moved up a ton. Isaiah McKenzie.
Oh, I stand corrected. Harb's first big dog, he got Pickens at 165 when his ADP was 150. How long has this big dog been open for? Goodness. Hamler didn't move up a ton, Mad Sox, because he's been at 150 and his ADP was at 180, 185. So I think he was only the only reason I intimately know KJ Hamler's ADP is because I draft him in every other draft.
He moved up 18.4 slots in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
That seems about right. Maybe a little higher.
Money Train does snag Dak from us here at 106. Has Zeke, so makes a little bit of sense there. That would have been kind of a fun slide to get him at 108.
Well, he can have Burks or Gibson.
Yeah. I don't mind the idea. Definitely a couple different avenues we could go here. We could go Derek Carr with Adams. We could get our first tight end in Dawson Knox, who I kind of think is at the end of a little tier here, or we could just correlate with Ertz with Kyler. Do you have any thoughts?
I would correlate with Ertz.
Let's just put this pick in
All right.
first, and then we can figure out what we want to do with the second pick.
And then we can have Carr with Adams. Who was our backup QB in the other one?
The other one
we had Jones, Fields, and
we had Jones, Fields, and Daniel Jones. Yeah, I like the Carr Kyler pairing.
Yeah, and then we're done at QB.
Yep.
There's no
done at QB.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't draft a lot of Ertz, but in this scenario where Rondale Moore went off the board at 97, I mean, we're running out of pass catchers with him that we can feel good about. I mean, there's AJ Green late, but I have a really hard time getting excited about him. So Ertz is really the last. I mean, Rube is just going out here and getting his guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and he's watching us and he knows we got Murray. So he's just an early snipe, 10 spot early snipe.
Yep. Still stings.
Yeah, we could have waited for Tua.
We could.
I was thinking about this. Go ahead. I was thinking about the like the correlation. Like it's easy to correlate like those shitty 150th 15th rounders, 20th rounders.
Yeah.
But like really the correlation you really want is like this Adams Carr stud correlation, right? Like, do you really care a ton about the third stringer and Pat Mahomes? Well, maybe not in that team, but something more established. Like, I don't know. Like it's they're correlated, but like what you need is these home runs, right? Where the quarterback throws 3 touchdowns to somebody or something like that, and you just get all that home run correlation. And so I like Carr better than a Tua and then long shot, or whatever.
Right. I mean, I definitely agree with the Ertz stuff too. It's just like, I mean, I do think Kyler, if you really had to do him naked just because of how much he runs, and then maybe we toss in Arizona running back late, I think that's still fine. Yeah. But if he's really hitting the high end range of his outcomes, I mean, one of those pass catchers is going to have a really big year.
Yeah, I'm assuming Hopkins is gone already. August 9th. Okay.
It goes to show you how quickly things change, because right before that, again, when Harbs is referencing getting Pickens at 165, then he has that really sick preseason game, the steady drumbeat. It's like, boom, next thing you know, he's a top 100 pick 2.5 weeks later.
That is pretty amazing. Yeah. 2 weeks later, the guy goes 70 spots higher.
Yeah.
And there was no injury either. It was just hype.
Yeah. And then, I mean, no Bo Sox again, going back to this idea of the 2 different levels of correlation. He says in the playoffs, the QB plus wide receiver 3 or similar can really pay off. 1 week rounds, anything can happen. And this goes back to the season long correlation versus the individual game correlation.
Yeah, I agree. And also, we did have Waddle, which he's no joke. So, but I was just more or less saying like, oh, well, why take a quarterback like Carr when you can just generally speaking, you can easily get the stacks later on in the draft. It's like, yeah, you can get the stacks easy later, but or more likely it's easier, but it's not like that huge windfall that we really want with like Carr and Adams in theory. Like Aaron Rodgers and Adams really is what we're looking for.
Right. I have one guy. Now I can't remember. Now I keep forgetting who we I got to pull up again and see who we took the other night.
What position are you thinking?
Oh, wide receiver. There was a guy that he just goes because this room is just they're starting to attack it. I was pretty interested in Jahan Dotson there.
Okay.
Wide receiver starting to get a bit thinned out.
Yeah, we're not too bad though. Yeah. Okay.
No.
Those are 4 good wide receivers though.
Oh yeah, our 4 at the top are awesome.
Yeah.
This is just the 0 RB bro in me. You know, when I miss out on my great 5th and 6th wide receivers, I start to get a little nervous, get the shakes.
Let's start over.
just unplug the controller and start over. I'm into DJ Chark. He's been a guy that I've clearly been taking a decent amount in Best Ball Mania. Nice deep threat here. So I'm happy to do him. This tier of tight end is pretty flat. This running back tier is pretty flat.
This is pretty bad spot.
I know. We did Madison. I've kind of been inclined to go just get a guy at wide receiver.
Just to take one? Ugh.
Man, this is bad. Yeah. Maybe we
what about Pacheco?
You know what? I have 0 shares of him, or so I guess I have 3.4%, 0 in any of the high stakes stuff. Sure.
All right.
Just see if we catch that steam.
Yeah, why not?
Oh,
I think we're pretty different than our last team, which I like.
Lewis wants to know, do many people get staked in Best Ball DFS like they do in poker? I have a feeling it's not that common because it's also, I mean, in poker, right? In DFS, you have such an immediate feedback loop to assess performance and progress, right? In a way that would make that super difficult for Best Ball. Yeah,
definitely not nearly as much, although it does happen. And also you could play, especially when DFS first started, you could play every table, every table, meaning every GPP, every game. You could play everything. There was no restrictions. So what do you need to stake somebody for when you just click a couple buttons and you got your stuff in there? And there's no rake back. And rake back is a huge part of staking in poker. Which is that whole, what's his name? Who's the frog poison? Bryn Kenny.
Yeah.
It's basically like a rake back stable. He just gets sweet deals. A lot of people do this. They get sweet deals with some poker sites and then start staking guys and then take their rake back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to me, what would makes more sense in the best ball space would be doing a ton of swaps because there's so much prize money up top. Everyone's say a group of you were all 150 maxing. If I make it to the finals, I'm definitely open to swaps and stuff like that. Just knowing how hard it is. I mean, to become a billionaire, you need to finish top 2 in week 17. And so, I mean, to kind of smooth out your variance a little bit there with some swaps, I think would make a ton of sense.
There is that what is that staking site?
Stake Kings.
Stake Kings, yeah, where you could buy pieces of DFS players or poker players. That would be cool.
I would do that for like an example of how I would do that is say for they're organizing a fast draft Mastiff. And I would do even no rake on it, or no markup, I should say. I would do no markup on my thing and just be like, hey, I'm going to put up, 500 of my own. And then whoever wants 2,000, you can buy $50 of it, $25. I'll live stream it. And you guys will all you'll have your piece. Obviously a lot of people, when they do the markup on that, they're baking in their level of play, but I would like to do it more just as a crowdfunding thing. Hey, we'll all get a fun live stream sweat out of this.
Yeah. That's a really good, we should do that, Pete. Maybe we'll do a high stakes one. And then if anyone wants in, with no, rake added on top of it. What's it called? What do they call it on Stake Kings? I
don't know, but it sounds like Ethan would know. I'm a partner at Stake Kings. If you want to give the fans a sweat, you're more than welcome. There you go.
I think it would be cool if Underdog did that, where you just put up like, hey, I want to swap 5%. You just put it up on some marketplace. I don't know if like legally that could happen, but and then you're just like, oh, I can get 5% of Pete, I can get 5% of Davis, blah blah blah. People would probably really like that.
Yeah. MJ says, I wonder who will have the most bullets in the Week 17 championship. I mean, the math says that there will be no one who has more than one bullet. That's what I would place a bet on. What do you think's more likely? There's at least one person with 2 bullets or no one with more than one? 470 people in the final.
Yeah, I would say no one with more than one is the most likely outcome.
That's what I think.
But, I mean, yeah, you have 150 max in how many? 500,000 entries? We're talking BBM3, right?
Yeah, we're talking BBM3. Yeah, 400.
Man, I'm surprised that's going to fill.
Sorry,
I guess I'm more surprised.
No, Jeff, we're using kind of a poker terminology. A bullet is just an entry. So just saying you got 150 bullets to try to get this down.
It's hard to stop that what is it, lingo, the poker lingo. Once you start, you can't stop. By the way, look at it. Can you see this shirt here? You can barely read it. You probably can't even read it.
I can't. What does it say?
It says "Got Tilt." I went through like my old T-shirts, and this is like an original full tilt shirt I got. I just never threw away, and it's like fading away. Man, back in the day, they had this like black card program. Like if you played a ton, they would send you this like really nice card. I don't know what it did. It didn't do shit, but like
it just made you feel cool.
Yeah. I think if you went to Vegas, you could get some perks or something. I don't remember, but yeah, it was just cool. You wanted the black card. It is like nice, big, heavy credit card kind of thing.
So my thought here is to take a couple high upside rookie wide receiver swings. We have. I think
that's perfect. We have no correlation opportunities, anyways, right?
Nope. Yeah, Green Bay, Minnesota, New York Giants, Indiana. No team level correlation. Give us some. We have a strong wide receiver room up top, and now take a couple big swings.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate one of those tight ends, honestly. With this, with Ertz, he's kind of old, gets hurt a little bit, but no, I'm liking this. We're not getting the correlation, but this is also a DFS best ball issue. Is like we're only playing against like 1,600 lineups in this. How many, Pete? Something like that. 1,600 lineups.
2,300 total. Yeah.
Okay, 2,300, 1,600 total. Okay, are currently in it. 2,300. That's not a huge GPP. Like you still want to correlate if you can, but I mean, I think that's what the people get confused on the zero RB strategy when they're like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, we need a fucking miracle to win this best ball BBM3. Like we need a miracle. Like, so what's a miracle look like, right? Like, oh, some guy's getting hurt. My guy's starting, like whatever, but wide receivers going the fuck off. Like this is my miracle shot. When you're playing against 2 other people or 10 other people in your home league, you don't need to do any of that shit. Like, you don't even really need to correlate. They probably are so bad if you just go sub to ETR or Osmo or whatever. I mean, stochastic. You're probably going to be ahead of them anyway. So like, or actually just download the underdog rankings the day before you go to your draft. Those. They're probably the sharpest thing you could do.
Yeah. I just did an article or a piece in the Fantasy Life newsletter about that. Hayden, it feel like we're all doing it around the same time because Hayden also had a good one comparing underdog ADP to the various draft sites. And it's funny, like that's how I process everything. Like I've been doing the Sirius XM show, people calling in with Keeper League questions. And I just immediately have like a really good market ADP to be like, yeah, that guy that you get to keep at a 6th round value, well, he's going in the 2nd round of all these drafts. Like it's a pretty good data point to just be able to give people who, to them, they haven't done 100 of these drafts. They don't know where the market has settled on a fair price for them.
Right. Yeah. And there's a risk when you just use one guy's opinion. Back in the day, Pete, right? We would get those magazines. You go to the gas station, you get a magazine and a marker, and that's what you sit in your buddy's garage, drink a million beers, and fucking scratch off the guy's name. and they're 2 months old lists and shit, like, and then, like, that's what you wanted your buddies to have because you knew more than them, So like you don't need those miracle shots, but in these gigantic fields, you want all the correlation and miracle shots you can fit within reason.
It is, yeah. It's funny too. Like when I was scrolling TikTok, and I'll still occasionally get you'll see some people. Yeah, they're generally older, but they're getting ready for their draft, and it's normally like daughters like filming their dad. Like my dad just bought his fantasy magazine at the store, and he's writing out and circling. It's like for some people that is still the charm. Like not everyone are fucking sickos like us. Like they like that experience because it's nostalgic almost for them.
Oh God, the first guy who brought a laptop to a live draft, you just busted his balls, man. What is this fucking nerd doing? Ruining the fucking draft with his goddamn laptop. I mean, I use Underdog. Speaking of Underdog rankings, that's what I use on my overlay on DraftKings. I just overlay. It's an auto on our API drop-down list. I just use Underdog's rankings and like, okay, Underdog has this guy at 60 and he's going at 89 on DraftKings because they're a bunch of noobs over there. You know what I mean? So like, it's pretty easy EV to pick up over there. I think if you're gonna put the time in.
For sure. Let's see.
Davis, James, we up?
Lewis asking if either of us would like to be staked for DFS or best ball. Brian doesn't need to be staked, and I wouldn't want the pressure of being staked. And I don't think I'm good enough at best ball or DFS to warrant being staked. Yeah.
No, thank you. I don't think you want to stake me in best ball, honestly, to tell you the truth. But James talks about Davis here in the Sammy Watkins love.
I mean, did we take Hunter Henry in our other one? We did. But again, why is Hunter Henry? We took him at ADP in our last draft. He's now.
I think we took those two tight ends, actually, didn't we?
We took
we can have, if there's a ton of value there. A couple overlaps, I'm fine with.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Yeah, we took Henry at pick 154 and then Everett later. But this one, I'm fine to get it.
Fine with me.
I mean, wide receiver is a wasteland. We probably get
Fuller.
I know.
Is he going to sign or what?
I'm starting to get pretty spooked about it. I normally would take Raheem Mostert here, but
well, you only got 6 seconds, so dial it in.
Let's do Curtis Samuel.
All right.
Let's do Curtis Samuel.
You don't like Darrell Williams, obviously, because we could have.
I know. I was thinking about it. He might be available to us in this next pick. I mean, there's legit reports out there that he might be a cut candidate now. Even
you got to start doing that more, Pete, with your live drafts. Like, oh God, there's some reports, guys. Like, oh, he's back to me. Oh, those reports.
Sandbagging. Yeah.
It's a betray the trust of your audience for a 17th round best ball.
Exactly. Well, here's the deal, James. Eno would have been who I would have liked to have picked at that turn, but you took him at fucking pick 169. All right.
Oh yeah.
My guy Eno getting steamed.
You snipe someone 10 picks, 11 picks early.
I know. These guys.
That's another thing with taking one of those stud QBs when you're live streaming. It's just like you announce to the world, like, well, everyone knows who Pete's going to be looking for in these later rounds.
Do you know what I think what we could do is if we want to still get like a little bit of fun Arizona correlation and Darrell Williams does get cut. They drafted another rookie running back this year, Keontae Ingram. He's a guy that will probably be drafted in 0% of big dog contests. But if Darrell Williams were to get cut, he would probably become a 18th, 17th round pick in most drafts. So that could be a fun last pick for us.
Okay.
Little correlation, little 0% ownership.
Complete waste of a pick to me, but let's do it. No, I no idea, honestly.
Trust me.
I just gave a rant about how you don't need to go crazy in this draft. Pete's taking some guy I've never heard of.
We're at the portion of the draft where the chat just all says their favorite random player that they want us to take. Kyron Williams. I'm also fine taking Darrell Williams if he makes it back to us.
That's what we did in the last round too, right? And the other big dog is we took that running back on Pittsburgh that you like.
Yeah,
Warren.
Jalen Warren. Yeah. The problem is like, Jalen Warren wasn't getting drafted in all these where I assume Darrell Williams was getting drafted in probably like 95% of these big dogs.
Yep. That's
Paul,
a good point.
Brian, what would you think about McCaffrey here at 204?
McCaffrey in the 17th round, I'd probably take him.
If
he was available.
I wouldn't kick him out of bed for eating crackers in the 17th round.
We just had our home league. I'm only in one home league now. I used to be in so many back in the day, and purposely it's just too much to do those fucking things. But I had the number one pick last year. That's what CMC. That's reminding me of it. So I had CMC, and then I don't remember where Ridley was drafted, like second round, third round last year, but whatever. So my two earliest picks were CMC and Ridley, and I was just dead by week 3 or whatever.
Yeah. And it goes back. I have some buddies too who, they play one league a year. They buy, I think they got their ETR sub, and, then they're just so snake bitten with injuries, and they're like, I hate fantasy. I don't want to ever play. And I was like, you played in one league and you accidentally hit the 2 landmines for that season. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Play in more leagues, do some best ball drafts so you have some different sweat spread out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the managing's the I don't know why you guys love the managing the football league so much.
No one said we love managing. We love drafting them.
Why do you keep doing it?
That's like asking Anthony Camaraderie if he like loves being a father, and it's like, no, he just loves having sex with lots of different women. He doesn't actually want to deal with the consequences.
But you could do that with best ball. Best ball is like having sex with no kids.
Yeah. I think we do take Darrell Williams at this. I think we fudded him into our correlation here.
Yeah, those reports were fake. Do you want to take Fuller? Or do you want to take that? Well, we can't take that back up if you're going to take Williams now, right?
I think we're done at wide receiver. I think we get to 6 running backs in this build.
I forgot we went back-to-back rookies too. So
yeah. So we'll be at 2, 6, 8, 2. We just have to decide on our other running back selection. I say we get a little funky off the board.
We can't
here.
do Jones.
We could do Abdullah. Is not a guy that has much. I mean, he's just going to be a floor guy. I don't know if we want to do that in this build.
He might get some starts. Drake's gone. Yeah, somebody who can start. Is anyone here who's got a chance?
Let's do the Kyron. Someone mentioned Kyron in the chat. I kind of like that. He's kind of the clear third guy right now behind Henderson and Akers. And if either of them, who are notoriously injury prone guys, he could be interesting.
This looks like a second place finish here.
Second, 1, 2.
Yeah.
I'll be so pissed if, to finish 1, 2, to have one of those rosters, the pay jump going from 1 to 2, but I guess if you have both of them, then it doesn't matter.
An hour of your time for 20K, Pete? I don't know.
I guess it's fine.
Pushing it.
Yeah, it is pushing it. Yes, Tyler, shout out for the Kyron Alpha.
See, throwing out those names at the end of the draft, it pays off.
There you go. We're just a blank canvas ready to be molded by your suggestions.
All right, who we got in here?
Let's
sniped us.
Let's recap the team for the people who are not
watching.
Wait a second. Hang on. I just got shook. Someone said I had 2% Mike Davis. There's no fucking way. No, this is the target exposure. See, mine's the red. There's 0 next to me.
Yeah.
Blame Hertzig or somebody for that shit.
Yeah, no, that's just that's the regression part. None of you guys probably have them.
Oh, the regression part. Okay. Yeah. I literally panicked. I was about to read. I was like, what? I have 2% Mike Davis? Are you fucking kidding me? All right. So someone asked to recap the team earlier. So we do have Kyler and Derek Carr at quarterback. We have a 0 RB build here with Dobbins, Chase Edmonds. Where did you go? Has it rugged me? Dobbins, Edmonds, Tony Pollard, Isaiah Pacheco, Darrell Williams, Kyron Williams. Pretty fun 0 RB room there. Adams, Lamb, Allen Robinson, Jalen Waddle, DJ Chark, Christian Watson, Wandale Robinson, Curtis Samuel, and tight end Zach Ertz, Hunter Henry. Pretty solid team, I think.
Yeah. I think I like our last team a little more. Well, that's probably why that's the first place team. This is the second place team. We got a lot of shit on Twitter. I didn't expect that when you posted that.
What shit did we get?
I don't know. A lot of people just like that team's trash. Take some fucking RBs. I don't know. Some of them were probably joking, but
the one guy said that the RB. I was like, Bud. I mean, if you think this team with Saquon Barkley sucks at running back, you should see some of my other teams here.
Yeah, right.
It's always fun when, who was it? Our buddy Ben Gretsch. He used to do stuff at CBS. He went back on and did a mock draft with them. And he was just like battling like the chat and stuff. The people who he had the 101 in this mock draft, took CMC, and then just, started taking a ton of wide receivers. And they were still just like, could not wrap their head around not taking any more running backs for such a long period of time. Yeah.
That's that home league mentality.
Yep.
It makes a lot of sense in a home league when you're only playing against 9 other guys or 11 other people. Not when you're playing against 500,000 other lineups.
Yep. Yeah, it does. The dynamics really change too. Like you said, in those home leagues, like where everyone has these super teams, you want to have just massive ceilings at every position.
David Montgomery.
David Montgomery would be a begrudging home league pick, I think.
800 yards and 6 touchdowns, something like that.
Yeah,
that's solid. That could win you a home league championship. Probably not going to win you $1 million.
Thank you for the kind words, H Dota here. You guys are my favorite show of all the football stuff I watch. Thanks. Let us know if you guys, we've obviously been drafting the past couple of shows. If that's what you guys like to watch us do, we will happily oblige and do a few more draft streams, or if there's anything else you guys would like to see here as we head into the football season. Anything else on your radar, Brian?
No, football. It's football season. I got to get my sim going. We got an update, like I said, on the Draft Caddy app, and it has DFS on it, but it's like super beta. So give us a second there. We're gonna try to put some cool stuff on there, and then Pete will be able to do some streams with it. Hopefully, help him. I don't think we got anything. We're gonna put this on audio. If you guys haven't subbed to our pod, we'd appreciate it. It'll be up in like 20 minutes, half an hour, however long it takes to migrate to all the platforms.
Perfect. And I'm going to be recording something later with Eric Beimfor. It's the 1 year anniversary of us drafting our top 10 Best Ball Mania 2 team. So we're going to try to recapture some lightning in a bottle with that. So you guys can keep an eye out for that. That's going to be pre-recorded. We're going to keep the Badge Bros out of our draft, but you can keep an eye out for that. And then tonight on Ship Chasing, we are drafting an FFPC main event team. That will be at 10 p.m. So plenty more drafting content for you guys if you are so inclined. We appreciate you guys hanging out. For Brian, I'm Pete. Please don't get cut, Darrell Williams. Actually, do get cut because I have way more shares.